Pause. Hello. I am sorry. I'm trying to stream in like 4 different places. So um, I was clicking on Instagram and also clicking on live on what's it called? Oh, StreamYard. So hiya, give me a hi if you're watching. Obviously it's me, Helen. This is my dedication to coming on live every Thursday. So at the moment I'm streaming on my phone and on my laptop as well. So if it looks like I'm looking in 2 different places, I am. But I'm starting a regular Thursday live because why not? And it just kind of feels like the right time because there's loads and loads and loads and loads of stuff that I see online, in the online space, things being shared, things being talked about, and it kind of feels as though I need my voice out there as well. So if you don't know me, I'm Helen Ferguson. I'm a specialist trauma therapist. Don't be put off by the term therapist. That's what we're going to talk about today. And I actually specialize in helping and guiding women and children who've experienced trauma to really kind of coming home to themselves, really understanding who they are, who they want to become, the things that are holding them back, and no longer being defined by the stories, the narratives of their past or their challenging experiences. I'm going to take my glasses off, just realised. And so I've been doing this kind of work now for about 24 years. So I originally started working with children and young people who had been traumatized and abused and were in foster care or transitioning into foster care. And I then began working with women who were holding on to their trauma and unbeknownst to them holding on to their trauma. So there were all sorts of different patterns and behaviors and ways of thinking and ways of being that were kind of holding them back and being activated by circumstances, by relationships, by anything actually that was happening in their lives. So I tend to work now with women who are achieving. So they are professional, entrepreneurial business women. A lot of them would, even though they may be 7 figures in their business, they actually don't call themselves high achieving, interestingly. But they are usually moving through lots of different transitions in their lives, in their business, in their relationships, and what comes about is this awareness, this understanding that there's something happening for them. So that's me. I'm not going to introduce myself every single time. I just thought it would be nice if I did. So, I am on Instagram and on my phone and on StreamYard here on Facebook, YouTube, and my Facebook business page, I think. So I'm on 2 different platforms, 2 different kind of streaming bits at the moment. So apologies if I'm looking in 2 different places. But I kind of wanted to come on and talk today about therapy and therapists, because I'm seeing a lot. If anybody's here and they want to say hi, give me a shout. It would be nice to know. I've got a love, but I don't know who that is, so just let me know. So I am going to chat a little bit about therapists and therapy today, because it's, hi Anna, how are you? Nice to see you. I'm just going to say it. There's a bit of a bad rep, okay, that therapists get. And it's out there at the moment. I see it. I hear it. I've heard it from people. And about kind of what therapy is and what therapy does and what therapists are. Now, I can't talk about every single bloody therapist in the world. By the way, if you don't like swearing, you're not going to like watching me live. Just going to say it, because I do. And I equally do in therapy as well. so I am a bit of a sweary therapist. But I kind of see a lot about, how therapy is kind of one particular thing. So I was talking to a client this morning, and I said to her, you know, before, she's known me a number of years now, but you know, I said to her, what's your understanding of therapy before you met me? What was it? And she was like, I thought it would be a waste of money. Um, you know, if you want to talk to someone and whine about your life, why not just talk to your mate, to your best mate? You know, she also said it's actually really difficult to find a good therapist. She had 2 therapists before me. And it's pointless just talking about your problems. And this is the thing that I'm hearing consistently, and messages that I'm seeing a lot, that therapy is just about talking. That therapists don't give advice, that we're not allowed to give advice, that we just let people process their own stuff, and we don't actually give any guidance or support, or, you know, we're classically, one of the things I hear and I actually see, even in mainstream media, or even in some of the programs that are out there on television, is therapists sitting there with a notepad and a pen, waiting for people to talk. I'm not that kind of therapist, so I'm kind of here to, you know, I realize I'm here debunking some of the myths, but it's also debunking some of the myths that are around me as well. Because if you think that I'm the kind of therapist that just sits there and lets you talk and doesn't say anything, doesn't do anything, doesn't give advice, doesn't, you know, guide in any way, then you are sadly fucking mistaken. Because actually, I'm probably one of the most challenging therapists that you, if you chose me, that you would have, because I will do all of that. I will make you you know, there's a guy that's working with me at the moment. I don't usually work with men, but you know, he was in a session with me yesterday, and he was like, "Oh my God, you know, he said, you're really good at this. You make me go down all these avenues." Exactly, because it's not about, I want to kind of bring a lady that I was working with a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was, into this. And she'd been in therapy for 2 years. I'm pretty sure she won't mind me talking about this. I've put it in a blog before now. And she was in therapy for 2 years with somebody, and then contacted me, actually not for her, but for her daughter. And I listened to her talking, and I listened to herself and kind of what was happening for her. And she was so emotional. She was so full, you know, she was so, oh, it was like she was drowning, you know. And I said to her, you know, what support are you having? And she said, well, I've been in therapy for 2 years. And I said, how's that going for you? And she said, well, it feels like I'm at the bottom of a pit, and they've got the ladder at the top, and I've got to scramble my way out. And if you think that that's what therapy is, and that's what therapists do, that we sit, we wait for you to find your way, then that's not what I do. I'm not saying that that's not what some other therapists do, but I'm saying that's not what I do. And actually, what I want you to kind of understand about, when I talk about therapy, when I talk about the therapy journey, the healing and recovery journey in therapy, is that it's actually an empowering process. It's an empowering process of evolution, of you evolving into the person, into the woman that you define yourself to be. That isn't about defining being defined by the past, being defined by some sort of label, some sort of mental health, mental illness label, or medicalized model label, but actually evolving into the woman that you want to be. And you don't get there on your own sometimes, you know. You've got to have somebody that's curious, exploratory, that will challenge you, that will help you dive deeper into yourself, not deeper into your past. Nobody wants to do that, you know, but deeper into yourself around what is it that is going to help you get there? What is it? What is your inherent self capacity to do that? Because you know, it's a bit of a cliched phrase, and you see it all over memes on Instagram that, you know, you have everything within you. Well, you do, but you don't know it. And so it's about that discovery. It's about self discovery. And, you know, when my client this morning said to me about the fact that she used to assume that therapists couldn't give advice, and she sat there and she went, "You've kind of proven me wrong on that one," because over the time that I've been working with her, you know, I have given advice because she's needed it, you know? She's needed my advice. You know, the bonus about having life experience, the bonus about having a particular and rather, actually, dare I say, extensive set of skills is that I can advise. I don't tell people what to do, but there's an advice that we can give. So the therapists and therapy for me, I suppose I go a little way. I'm not going to lie about that. I remember when I was, you know, in all my therapeutic training that I've done. So I've trained as a psychotherapist. I'm an attachment therapist. I'm a CBT therapist, solution focused, IFS, somatic. You know, I've done all of these trainings and therapeutic trainings, clinical therapeutic trainings. And in all of those, I'm not going to keep them to myself and go, yeah, I've got all of this, but you figure it out on your own. I'm not going to do that because that's just shit. You know, if I've got life experience and I've got skills that help me to help someone, to help you, to guide you, to advise you, to give you the kind of, I mean, my client this morning, she said it's like an education that you give, then that's advice. It's not telling you what to do. I don't say, right, you should now go and do this, 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 and you'll feel much better. And everything that you feel will disappear and you'll be marvelous and everything's magical. You know, that's not what it is. It is that, you know, if you have someone with skills, with life experience, with you know, years of working with people and understanding the nuances of people and actually wanting to understand the nuances of you. One of the things I always say is that, you know, therapy and the therapy journey is absolutely unique to you. And it doesn't have to be 20 years, and it doesn't have to, you know, but equally, it's not going to happen in 4 weeks either, because the first thing that has to happen in a therapy relationship is the ability to co-regulate, is the ability to connect. So, you know, if you're sitting there thinking, oh, a therapist is this really boring person that sits down with a notebook and they just want to listen to my problems and then I've got to figure it out on my own, throw it out the window, because that's not what it's about. Like I said, therapy is an empowering process of evolution, transformation, evolution for you to be the person that you want to be, to understand who you are now and understand who you can become and get there, you know? I don't kind of push you to go there. I'll guide you. I'm always holding your hand. But I don't push people to go there. I don't push people to go where they don't want to go. Equally, sorry, I'm reading. I'm realised that I haven't got my glasses on. Mandy says, "You're truly anything but boring. Your approach is truly valuable." I am probably. I kind of think. Thank you, Mandy, because that's the way I see it. You know, I see this kind of perception of therapists being bleh, bland, ineffectual. What's the point? It's only talking. It isn't only talking. Anybody that works with me knows that it's not only talk. It's not just talking. Of course we talk, But if you think it's only talking, then come and have a chat with me, you know, because it's anything but. I take you on every single journey that you will ever possibly need to go on in your mind, in your body, in your soul, in your heart. And that's what therapy is about. And therapy, you know, I'm not the therapist that like Michelle sadly described, that's standing in the light while you're in the dark and I've got the ladder going, haha, you know, I got here first, you know, feel free to find your own way. That's not what it's about either. You know, that is just awful. Because I remember when I was training, and I mean, I forgive, you know, I'm trying not to make judgments about other therapists. That's not my bag. But, you know, I remember kind of feeling different. And I would sit with other therapists, and I would sit with you know, other psychotherapists, other specialist therapists, and I would feel different. You know, I would feel like my approach was different. I would feel individual and unique, because I am that. I've always been that. I've always defined my own uniqueness and stood very proudly and confidently in that, and rather self-assuredly in it as well. But I sat there and thought, one of the questions I asked myself was actually, would I open up to one of these other people? And sadly, my answer was no. My answer was no, because I thought, you're not giving anything of yourself, you know? And as therapy, I remember being told that I had to leave my emotions at the door. Fuck that, quite frankly, because I'm an emotional human being. I mean, I'm a Pisces through and through. I'll cry at anything. I'll hold people, you know. But what I won't do is I won't sit and watch somebody really upset and hold myself back and hold my emotion back, in the sense of not feeling empathy and compassion for that person. So I always kind of talk about the fact that the emotional connection, the empathy and the compassion connection is about that empathic witnessing, is about that emotional witnessing of somebody else's feelings. And if I just sat stony faced with my notebook, you know, carry on crying, I'll wait, you know, what kind of person does that make me, you know? So I knew from the very start of my journey into being a therapist, and over the last 24 years, the kind of therapist that I wanted to be. And it wasn't someone that went, you just talk and I'll listen, because it's not what I do. So as a therapist, yeah, of course, we have to bring the unconscious to the conscious. You know, your behaviors, your patterns, the parts of you, the layers of you that have been keeping you alive, helping you survive, you know, understanding those, bringing awareness to them. But we do that also in this lovely kind of somatic way as well, this beautiful kind of somatic experience that, you know, brings also an inner healing and bringing a reparenting of the child you, if you experience childhood trauma, you know, the child you that needs to be seen, needs to be heard, needs to be held, needs to be comforted. So I realize I've gone a bit, like I do, I go on a bit of on a journey when I talk, and get used to that, because I do actually go and then come back to the beginning again. But I really wanted today to be about dispelling some of the idea about what therapy is. And I hope I've done a little bit of that today, and I will continue to do that as I continue to do my regular Thursday lives. That it's not just sitting and talking. It doesn't have to go on for years and years. It's not a waste of money. Ask any of my clients. It's one of the things that my client this morning said was actually how hard it is to find a really good therapist. Okay. always do your due diligence, okay? Always check the testimonials, always check, have a conversation about, what their skills are, what my skills are. People, I'm an open book, feel free to ask. That they're bona fide and I'm not just done a Udemy course for 10 quid. And the therapy and the process with me in particular is one of an evolution to understanding who you are now, not the definition of your past experiences, but who you are now, and actually who do you want to become? Who do you want to be? What does she look like? What does she sound like? And doing that through a process that involves talking, but it also involves your body. It also involves rewiring the brain and your nervous system and and your vagal toning and all the other things. And I could talk about all the jargon of that, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not teaching you. You don't. Yeah, you might want to understand the concept of it, but the way I talk about it is not with all the jargon, because you can have all the big words in the world, but putting them into practice and being able to do the thing, help someone change, doesn't come from knowing all the big words, quite frankly. All right. So I realize I've gone a bit of a journey today, but therapy is not dull with me. I can't say that for everyone, but for me, certainly. I am allowed to give advice. I just don't tell you what to do. I can advise, I just don't tell you what to do. It's your choice. The thing about therapy is that it's always your choice. And do your due diligence, ask the questions, did you do a 10 quid Udemy course? No. But also kind of understand the life experience of someone that you're working with. People know my life experience. I talk about it. I share it. It's the other thing. I'm allegedly not supposed to share my own self, but actually, I think it's important to, because why would you give yourself to me if I don't give myself to you? So there's my Thursday. I don't know that it's a rant, actually. I want to start bringing these kind of conversations more to the fore, okay? And change the myth, change the ideas around what therapy is. It's so far removed, with me anyway. It's so far removed from what you might believe it to be. So if you have any questions about it, send me an email, pop into my DMs, comment here. More than happy to answer. But yeah, watch this space, because this therapist is going to start telling you the real deal. All right. So thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. I didn't see anybody else comment. And I know that Mandy did on Instagram. And I'm really, really impressed with myself that I got the tech of both. So I realized I may not have been looking at the screen and at this screen at the same time. That's something else to figure out at a different time. All right. So thank you so much. Oh, Laura, you commented. Oh, Laura, you only just joined. Catch it on a replay, love. It's me demystifying, debunking some of the myths around what therapists. Yeah, me and the tech. I'm getting there slowly, catch your monkey. But yeah, my tech is renowned for not being great. But I'm a brilliant therapist. I'm just shit at tech. You can't have it all. Okay, right. I am going to head off. And thank you so much for joining. I'll be back next week, next Thursday, on a live. So please feel free to join me then. And I will see you guys soon. Take care.